Steve, why don't you take a turn there? W6SSP, W7MS.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, hey. You caught me off guard. I was just making some notes here. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Signal conditions seem to be pretty good. Chuck is a little weak, but that's kind of normal for the path we have. And listened to a little bit of the chatter before the net. And anyway, pretty interesting about the MG set there, Ron. That's super cool. Was the field pipe circuit something you designed?
Good morning, Steve. And, yeah, Dave's in there also. I guess Dave, take it, W6MQI. Okay, guys. Well, I got some sidewinders killing me here. I'm on the, using the RAL receiver, so. So those balls put away, it's going to be brutal. I don't know who's next here. Take it away. I guess that's you, Mike.
Let's give Richard a shot. My apologies with the ATD because it's in the phone position and the dyno has to come up to speed. So, Richard, take a shout, W7MS.
Well, thank you, Mike. W7MS, W6AWO, high atop Inverness Ridge. Good morning to everyone. Good signal. Steve, you're killing it. We got a good pass this morning. Everything's going well. Things are starting to warm up a little bit here in the radio cave. And looks like it might be a good day. So I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Mike Sierra. Go ahead.
I think we need to keep carriers on this frequency for obvious reasons. And yeah, Dave, we feel your pain. K0DWC W7MS.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, I agree. The happiness boys have arrived. Well, I think I talked to Henry yesterday, and if I remember correctly, he's going to have the big rig on, the T3. So hopefully he'll plow the road, so to speak. But everybody here continues to come in. The signals coming in are really good, but everybody. I only heard Bill check in. I went into the kitchen to get a cup of coffee. I didn't know if he had popped back in or not, but I did hear Bill at the first time. So, Mike, are you? He's usually pretty good at your place. Is he coming in good there? Have you heard him yet? W7MS K0DWC.
Okay, time delay 11. No, I have not heard him as of now, but I believe you did earlier. But good luck, Chuck. You're the boss, W7MS.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the rundown as I have it. But there's six of us, so well, count me, there's seven. But here in the number one spot, I've got Ron, NU6F. In the two spot, I've got Mike, W7MS. In the three spot, I've got Bill, N6BCT. In the four spot, I've got Steve, W6SSP. In the five spot is Dave, W6MQI. And in the number six spot is Richard, W6AWO. So, with that, is there anybody else that wants to check in? We'll be starting, and might start that here just a few minutes early, but if you want to be number 7, check in now. Go ahead. Okay, nothing heard yet, but like I said, it's a little early. say, I had a good time Wednesday with the upper sideband net on 3996 with I switched antennas and finagled the tuning around and everything, and kicked this PRC 74 off with about 7 watts or so, and well, I'll tell you what, the guy down in Chula Vista, down there on the border, he could barely hear me. He said he could tell I was in there, and he could pick up a few words here and there, but that was about it. But that was the southern path. I was heard in Arroyo Grande, and the northern track was pretty good. The guy heard me up in Washington State, and I can't remember where he was exactly. Some of those names up there in Washington State are kind of different, and but I punched it in and got the mileage distance from Dayton to up there, and it was 639 miles. So that's a record for this PRC 74 on 7 watts. So he seemed like he was pretty tickled that I was getting up there with that little bit of power. But I had a pretty good time. It was pretty good. So I'm going to try it again this Wednesday and see what happens. But as you can tell, I'm just trying to hold the frequency. But anyway, that was a good time. And previously from here to Los Angeles was as far as I could have gone with that thing. So I kind of set a new personal record for myself. So I'm like, hey, that's pretty neat. So anyway, that was my excitement for the week on Wednesday night. So, and Ron, that motor generator you got is gold, man. It's whatever it takes to keep that thing going. That's great. But I can hear that thing in the background whining. That thing sounds really good. And like I said, that video was pretty cool too. So. Dave, I'm curious as to what you're on. I know Mike's on the ATD, but I don't know, are you on the 106 or the ART-13? Just curious. But anyway, let's see if there's anybody else. We've got 5 minutes, well, about 4 minutes till net. Probably go ahead and start it. But let's see if there's anybody else who wants to be an early check-in. Be number 7. If you'd like to be number 7, come now. Anybody want to be number 7? Come now. Greenwich Military Radio Net. Okay, well, I guess we can start a few minutes early. So let me give the rundown as I have it. Number 1 is NU6F. Ron. Number 2 is W7MS Mike. Number 3 is Bill, N6BCT. Number 4 is Steve, W6SSP. And number 5 is Dave, W6NQI. And number 6 is Richard, W6AWO. So good morning, gentlemen. Great signals all the way around. This is K0DWC. Chuck, I'm your net control this morning, and we're running the rental ART-13, courtesy of W4DBQ, and listening on the R390A receiver, inverted V, 200 watts, and speaking in a T32 microphone with the Electret module. So that's my rundown for today. So with that, we will go ahead and send it to the top there to Ron, NU6F, to take it. This is K0DWC.
Okay, good deal. Thanks, Chuck. And, yeah, all sounding good. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. Okay, I am barefoot, no amp, so I'm not sure if you guys copy or not. But, okay, on the Dave, on the other RAL, what are the odds of having 2 RALs here? and so no IF. And anyhow, yeah, running the TDE, barefoot, 30 watts carrier, and the RAL receiver. So anyhow, I'll pass it over to Golden Valley on the ATD W7MS NU6F.
Well, thank you, Ron. Good reception on the ground wave, NU6F and the Sunday morning military net W7MS. Mike in Reno. Yeah, running the ATD, 50 watts, and listening on a BC348R AC powered, which is masquerading, at least from the front panel, contract plate is BC348P, since it was missing the plate, and Henry was gracious enough to donate that contract plate for the front. So it looks official, so it's kind of masquerading as a P, even though it's an R. So too much information on that. Microphone's the usual amplified D104. The rotation mic is, as we all like to, we have our go-to microphones. So great, yeah, comments to Ron. I saw your white paper this morning on the protection circuits. Great. Gotta love those solid-state relays. What an amazing invention. So good job on that. And I think you're about as protected as you can be, except maybe if a meteorite lands in the shack there. So you got it covered. So let's see if we can hear Bill. And good morning to you, Bill, and everyone else here on frequency. And thanks, Chuck. N6BCT W7MS.
W7MS N6 Bravo Charlie Tango. So then we got power back and that sort of stuff, and everything is fine here. We got a lot of things to take care of on the computer stuff for getting. We have this program for self-generation program for PG&E, and I've got to get that all straightened out and so forth. Otherwise, it's doing pretty good. We finally got power back last Friday, and so everything's fine here. So I didn't get the list as to who checked in after me. I'm sorry about that, because I didn't have the SDR on because I had interference when I was having it. So that's the story there. So it's over to whoever, and it's just BCT.
Okay, Bill, thank you very much. I think you turned it over to me. Relatively good signals this morning. This is Steve, W6SSP, just north of Santa Rosa, and the equipment today is the Collins 32V1. And changed things up a little bit. I'm using an early HRO receiver this morning, built in mid-1935. It's the one I picked up last weekend from the estate of K6SRO, and it didn't take much to get it working. So that's what I'm using. It's not quite as sensitive as the 74A1, which is on hot standby just in case, but that's the equipment today. Anyway, over to the next guy. Good morning, Dave, and got your email, W6MQI, W6SSP.
And W6SSP, W6MQI. All right, good morning, Steve, and Annette, and Chuck. Thanks for wrangling the herd this morning. Boy, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hang on here unless these sidewinders crawl into a rock. I'm on the RAL receiver this morning, and it's a bit brutal. And the transmitter is the TCK7 with the carbon mic. Chuck was wondering about that earlier, so that's what that is. And copying Ron on a TDE, barefoot, no problem. A little light on the light side, but I'm copying you, Ron. and mic. I think he said ATV, 50 watts, and he's copying Bill, but no copy on his audio, so distorted. I can't understand a word you're saying there, Bill. But I was hearing you, and Steve on the call-ins. So that's the rundown here. I don't think I forgot anything. Chuck, yeah, find on that Wednesday night net. I forgot again. I get so busy sometimes during the week that I guess I got to put an alarm on my phone. Of course, I probably would set my phone down in another room and it'd go off and I wouldn't hear it. But somehow I got to try to check into that upper sideband net on Wednesdays. But I'll make it one of these days. So, high atop Inverness Ridge, Richard, take it away, W6MQI.
Well, thank you, Dave. Excuse me, W6MQI, W6AWO. Good morning, gentlemen. Little frog in the throat this morning. Ron's going to have to join the list of so many, complimenting you on that fine setup and that fine motor generator set. And yeah, I do remember back in the day, that was kind of a common thing. I remember having at least one military transmitter, and we just plugged it in and turned it on, but it's uncommon today, so very well done, and the signal is super duper. Very good signals all around. I think Steve, SSB, is top dog here. Although, Dave, just as you turned it over to me, you came up to all the way over status, so sounded good all the way around. Using the prosaic, not to say dull and boring, Johnson Viking 2 and HRO 60, and of course the required D104. The last Sunday, people were asking about Bolinas, the KPH transmitter site, and I neglected to mention that yes, we did have a significant casualty there during the current storms. 100-foot pole on the ground, and took out 2 antennas, extended double steps for 4 and 6. And so this just past Saturday, yesterday, they were able to rig up or connect a separate antenna for 6. 6 was back on the air, but it's going to be a major operation to get that all back up, the feed lines restrung and the antennas redone. But luckily we do have a company that can do it, waiting for their estimate, which is not going to be cheap. And then last night, as I was relaxing into the evening, I heard on the scanner a dispatch from the fire department for a structure fire at the receive site, at the KPH receive site. I said, oh my God, now what? And suited up and headed out there. Luckily, it was a false alarm, but met up with the rangers and the captain, did the interior inspection and did it all. Anyway, that was all good, but it was a little bit of excitement there, I must say. Very glad it ended up as it did, which was unable to locate, UTL, as we say. Chuck, back up to you, K0DWC, W6AWO.
WA7YBS.
Hey, there he is. Good morning, Henry. I got you in the 7 spot, bud. Go ahead and make your transmission and send it back up to me, K0DWC. So WA7YBS, it's all yours.
Okay, Chuck. WA7YBS here, and Henry and Dayton, where it was 17 this morning, so quite a heat wave compared to the single digits that we had a couple times before. And 53 degrees here in the shop, and just checking a few things. And okay, well, I think we're getting out okay. Just meters reading just slightly different. And anyway, with that, let's see. where was I? I guess it was shop is 53 degrees, and that's after the Resonaur's been on an hour. It was 25 in the shop when I came out this morning and turned the Resonaur heater on. So anyway, yes, mighty cold. Snow is still on the ground, and we finally got the locust tree that fell on the antenna cut up, and so it's out of the way. So we might be able to make progress on an antenna so I can operate out of the house instead of out here where it's in the freezer. And let's see, we're on the T368 as usual for out here, and the receiver is the R725, Arvin Industries modified EAC, 1967 EAC R390A with the Series 500 IF deck, and that would be for elimination of the mechanical filters. The antenna is 2 half waves in phase, and that's 275-foot dipole, and with 77 feet of open feed line. And I'm using a D104 microphone. Okay, the communal D104, the one that I use the same head on every mic stand, so just bounces from one stand to another. So that's about it. Back to Chuck, K0DWCWA7YBS.
Okay, Henry, very good. Well, at least it's a balmy 53 in the shop there, so I guess you went out early this morning and fired the old Resonaur up. Oh, wow. All righty. Okay, all right. Let's see if there's anybody else who wants to check in here, tail end of the first round, and be number 8. If you'd like to be number 8 for the Vintage Military Radio Net, please come now. Okay, nothing heard. Well, I was thinking about it. I'm just wondering, maybe you guys can comment as you go down if anybody knows anything. How is Tom doing, WA6OPE? Well, to start with, I hope he's doing okay himself, but I mean, as far as his antennas and stuff go, I'm sure he's probably listening maybe, but Tom, if you're listening, we miss you. We need to get your antenna back up somehow. Oh, me, oh my. That last batch of storms was wreaked havoc, I think, with everybody. So, anyway, go back soon, Tom, if you're listening. We're not forgetting you for sure, that's for sure. So, anyway, well, not a whole lot going on this week, radio-wise. A lot of other stuff going on otherwise, but been kind of quiet. Been diddling a little bit here in the radio room. I got a small project that I'm working on, but haven't really started anything on it yet. I just got the parts in from Europe, and I got to sit down and look at all this stuff and concentrate. So it's pretty hard to concentrate with all this other stuff going on. So, but anyway, I do have a project going on, and I have more than one, but you know, the other projects is stuff that's already in here. I've been saying this for a year, but I'm going to definitely try to get my BC-191 back up and running again, put the tubes back in it, and get the SCR-193 station back up and going again. So that's a good station, especially since I've got the big AC power supply for that. So, you know, it'll be good and steady. But anyway, that's kind of what's happening here. So with that, let's see, Ron, that 30 watts is rattling the dust on my window. No problem here whatsoever. And Mike, you're coming in, you're pounding in too on 50 watts. Bill, I heard 100% of Bill. Bill, glad you got your power and everything restored, back on track. Steve, you're pounding in here with the 32V1. Dave, the TCK RAL setup is working beautifully. You sound great. You sound real military. Richard, the Viking 2 and the HRO are working great, and Henry, you're pounding in here too. You're rattling the walls. So everybody's coming in real good, and I noticed everybody is running something different today. We've got some very unique stations on today, so my congratulations to all. Everybody represents something different this morning. So with that, we will send it back up to the top, back over to Reno, to ANU6F in the group. This is K0DWC. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, good deal. All right. Well, I went back to the amp just in case. I heard more tuning going on, and so I got competition. Well, good copy on all, and even with the sidewinders nearby, why you guys everybody is up so much stronger that it's just a little heterodyne in the background. And Chuck, okay, on the US on the upper sideband net, well, and 100 congratulations on 100 miles per watt, and waiting for parts from Europe. It's funny you mentioned that. On the PRC 47, I paid a lot of bucks on eBay for a lower sideband filter, and the only guy that I could find that had them, all the regular sources didn't, was this guy in Serbia. So I paid my bucks, waited for a month and a half. Tracking said it was out for delivery. U.S. Postal Service. I got in fact, it was last Monday, the day of Larry's chemo. I came back home. Here's the slip in the mailbox saying signature required. And that's the last anybody saw of it. Pick up at the post office. Post office says, no, it's not here. We don't know what happened to it. I've gone down there every day since then. It's lost. So much for my lower sideband operations with parts from Europe. And let's see, it's going on down. Mike, good deal. The ATD is still perking along. And yeah, he didn't say anything about your local QRN, but hopefully the weather has cleaned that up a bit. And short of all the primary going down for another wet storm, I guess that's the best you can expect. And Steve, yeah, good deal on the new set of ears there. I believe you said mid-1930s HRO. I don't know if it's 1950s or 30s, but anyhow, that's nice to have a new boat anchor there on the desk. And Dave, TCK7 and RAL7. So, yeah, you got matching numbers. And I got the TDE3 and the RAL5. So, I guess I got to find an RAL3 somewhere. But, yeah, Steve, your favorite radio inventor, Colonel Armstrong would be happy to see that there's two regens, well, TRF/regens on the net. And Richard, oh gosh, I can imagine that sinking feeling when you hear on the scanner fire out at the receive site. Yeah, now lightning did not have to strike twice in the same place, and I hope something comes up with that 100-foot pole. Gosh. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you try to, it's not an easy task to restore stuff that was put up in the last century to keep it going. And good deal, Henry. The locust tree is now firewood, and you can just go ahead and get the antenna up, and too bad about Tom. I was hoping I was going to hear him on this morning, and so yeah, I know it's a real issue there, getting to that rehanging the antenna on the pole he's got there. Really can't climb it, and you can't lower it. So yeah, it's going to be was half joking, but I was wondering if somebody with a drone couldn't help by pulling a tag line over the top. Oh well. Anyhow, with that, I will pass it over to Golden Valley, and hopefully Mike not listening to NV Energy. W7MS, NU6F.
Well, take you on with a slight delay for the dynamotor to come up on the ATD. NU6F and the Sunday Morning Military Net. AM, amplitude modulation, W7MS. Well, good reception from all, but I would yet say that maybe Bill needs to turn his radio down a bit, make some adjustments, because Bill's signal was quite boisterous, but so was the distortion. So maybe something is maladjusted on Bill's end there, but we're looking forward to hearing him on the handoff. And we'll go through the list here. We'll start with Chuck. Great on the ART-13 rental as opposed to Lend-Lease. So good morning to Carla there. So maybe we can get a frying pan update also. We'll see what happens. 20-pound sledge to break up the ice in the water troughs. Wow. Yes, it has been chilly here for us folks on the West Coast, or at least the southern portion of the West Coast, mid-central to south. It's been an interesting winter so far, hasn't it? For all the associated folks here. And Ron, on the noise issue, still there from the sodium light. And last night I came in here because I knew I needed to do some rehearsal with the ATD. It had been so long since I'd had it configured for operation that I needed to review muting lines, RF hoses, etc. And it was singing like crazy. And it's interesting. It's temperature related, and there's a sweet spot around 30 degrees where it behaves normally. But it was glowing white hot. And I'm still hoping that the ballast transformer, the ballast circuitry will fry, but it's also when it's so cold outside, you probably it's exceeding expectations for going up in smoke, but we'll see. And great, congratulations, Steve, and the update on the HRO. Glad it's working, and you brought it home. And how was the wife acceptance factor when she actually was able to see it physically when it came home and the two were introduced? Because you mentioned the critique from your wife. And Dave, great on the TCK and the RAL and lack of IF, as is Ron. Well, son of a gun. And Richard, great on the update on the 100-foot down, the horizontally polarized antenna support, but I can only imagine the costs associated. But in the olden days, it used to be half off in the state of Nevada, but I don't think there's much of a difference when it comes to any type of activity from a contractor. Happy to hear, as was expressed by others, that the fire alarm was a false one. I do remember there at KPH sometime in the recent past where I think there was a method break-in there, and that was an official alarm. But good to have that wired for sound on that end. And Henry, a very extremely strong signal. And figured that maybe you were a little delayed and maybe kick-starting the reservoir. And it's probably maybe beyond 53 degrees as we speak. And I talked to Tom a week before this past week, and getting that antenna support up as a two-man operation, but he was working an idea where you could add a pivot pin, slash hinge to the 4x4 support for the pole and be able to winch it up as a one-man operation. So that's where he was a week before last on as far as the antenna issues there. Wednesday night, upper sideband net. darn it, there's some inspiration here, and I think we talked about this last week. And guess, just like Dave, I keep forgetting. It's been a couple of years since I've checked in, but if there's some fellow travelers there from a Sunday morning, it might be a little bit more comfortable as a introduction. And who the heck are you? That's basically what I had to deal with a couple of years ago, but we could break through the ice on that. Let me see here. Projects, again, the continuing saga of the RCAF AR6 receiver, and been digging around that with a little bit, but it's so reasonably on warm back here in the back of the house at the bench that it's time to hover over the pellet stove, which feels really, really nice in the great room and a little bit uncomfortable in the back here for focusing, let's say. But let's see how Bill's doing. N6BCT W7MS.
Bill, are you there? N6BCT? I'm not hearing you. Is anybody copying Bill at all? I can't hear him here.
Nope, not here. He had a pretty strong signal before up in Santa Rosa.
Trying to just crap out on me. So that's the story there. Anyway, maybe John is listening on the SGL. I don't know. Anyway, I'll talk to him at 2 o'clock this afternoon. WS6 went out too. Anyway, so that's the story there. Anyway, the SGL crapped out on me. And I was on the SGL because it was noise. Maybe I'll get back onto draft here in the next round. And just Bravo Tango. It's over to W6FS2 and 6 Bravo Tango.
Okay, Bill. Very good. Heard you that time. Yeah, strong signal today. And actually, everybody has a pretty good signal. The HRO is doing a pretty decent job. Not quite as sensitive as the A1, but still acceptable. So, hey, really good. Hey, Chuck, on congratulations, 7 watts and 600 plus miles. That's pretty darn impressive for the PRC-74. Neat stuff. And the 30 watts is making it up here just fine. And Mike, ATV is doing great too. Bill, really strong signal, like I say, but distorted audio, so it's kind of hard to understand what you're saying sometimes. Brad, Richard, and Henry are the winners' top signals today, by quite a bit, actually. So, Bill, I wanted to report one thing. I was talking to Jason via email. That's Jason Atkin, N6NMC. I think I got the call right. The lady sent him to Crete in Greece, so he's been over there for at least a week now, and having an absolute blast. He's been writing me about the food and people and the scenery and stuff, and he knows that I'm second generation Greek American, so I was raised on the Greek food. Know all about it, kind of miss it a little bit. Life doesn't exactly do very good for Greek food. But, blast, and really good to hear from him. And earlier in the week, we had some excitement here. We had a rather unusual visitor in the backyard, a coyote. I know they're in the area, but I've never seen one around here. Well, this one showed up on, I think it was Monday afternoon, and just kind of prancing around the pool, prancing around the backyard like he owned the place. Very, very handsome animal, too, by the way. And I opened the side gate to let him out, and he didn't like that, so the next day I had to remove a couple of fence boards to let him out back towards the creek. And, you know, thinking about this a little bit, I think he has been here actually for several weeks, taking shelter from the storms. And there's a place out in back that's kind of covered. Would make a nice little nesting area for him, and I'm sure that's where he was. But when it stopped raining, he wanted out. So out he went. Pretty cool. That's it for the wildlife here. Over to Dave, W6MQI, W6SSP.
W6SSP, W6MQI. Slow turnaround there. I gotta kill the sensitivity on the receiver, reach over, hit the TR switch, and then grab the mic and press the PTT button. All manual mode here. Okay, guys. Yeah, pretty much fine. Solid cop on everybody, except for when those sidebanders gets on. You know, one of them was really loud. I thought I heard him say goodbye, but every once in a while, I don't know if it's the same guy, rears his ugly head and covers up who's ever talking at the time. But let's see here. What have I been doing? Well, let's see. The clatternet's still hanging in there. We actually had Robert from Advanced Path check in, W7MKA. I was able to copy his prints, at least when the QSB was in his favor. He wasn't copying Tim N6CC. Tim's only running 25 watts, but my GRC 106 is working fantastic on Teletype. So that's cool. And our usual net control K6YIC went up to Sacramento and picked up 2 URT-23s. So he's going to post some pictures on the IO group there. Looking forward to seeing those transmitters. I heard also via the Clatternet that Tom has gone over to the dark side. He bought himself a modern rig to do WinLink. Sure, Richard knows about that, so maybe that's where he's been. Of course, I know his antennas have been down, but I've looked into that WinLink, thinking I should probably do that as a backup for emergency situations, so I don't know. I've got a 2-meter rig here I could probably use to set that up with. It'd be kind of nice to have that. My quest to look for a couple of TA-1042 field phones still going on. I found a guy on eBay that had them, but he wanted $100 in shipping to sell it. Screw that. So I'll just kind of continue on with that. I know that Dave Green has some field phones that I can use with the GRC 106. In fact, he had piles of them up in his place, so I may just go back up there when I go up there to get some more parts for Steve and whoever else, and grab a couple of those and just use those, because they're going to be a whole lot cheaper going up, even with gas going up there, versus buying something on eBay. eBay prices, and then they add on the damn shipping. It's just out of line. Well, I have a pair of headphones for the GRC 106 that I took a Dave Clark boom mic setup, aviation boom mic, and I 3D printed some brackets to mount it on the side of my headphones, and I 3D printed a mic element holder that I screwed onto the end of the mic boom, and it uses the same element as the HS33. I have not hooked it up to the radio yet. I have to have a manual, or external manual push-to-talk switch, and I'm printing a box as I speak here to key the GRC 106. So that'd be nice having a pair of headphones and a microphone all at the same time. Make life a little more pleasant while operating the GRC 106 due to the fan noise. I know that when I'm on the Clatternet, I wear a pair of headphones since I don't really need to listen to anything. It's all coming over the computer screen. So I put a pair of headphones on so I can, after a half hour, 45 minutes, I can get up and not have a headache. But that's about it here, I think. Sure I'm forgetting something, but all signals are sounding good. In fact, Rob. Oh boy. Bill. Okay, wow. Senior moment there. Bill is actually pretty strong. I'm still not hearing your audio. It's a little pretty funky there, Bill. I don't know if it's the radio or your microphone. Something to look into for the future. Okay, Richard, maybe you can enlighten us on what has happened to Tom. W6AWO, W6MQI.
Okay, Dave. W6MQI, W6AWO from the esteemed group. Well, as to what's happened to Tom as far as his antenna, I think we have a good report on that, and the scheme that he's got in mind for it being a one-man job. Well, knowing Tom, it'll be well engineered with plenty of block and tackle and all the rest of it. What's happened to Tom as far as WinLink has been great. We have been working on that together, and the idea is for emergency and disaster communications. It's one of the things that really does seem to make sense, especially on HF, where you can leap out of the disaster area and connect to an access station and send and receive email. And I work with the disaster relief folks out here on the coast, and that is how I see it. And Tom, that sort of caught his fancy, but it is so great and funny. I mean, he and I are both getting a kick out of it. And here's Tom, you know, here's 1935 Tom, 1937 on a good day, or maybe 1943 if you're really pushing it. And here's all these computers and a modern radio and sound cards and special software and all the rest of it. It's really been fun. We really enjoyed it. He's moving very slowly on this step by step. Tom, if you're listening out there, salute, my brother. And so we'll eventually get it working, and so that's where that's going. But there's no chance of any kind of leaving behind the first passion of vintage military radios. So that's my story on that. And yeah, the meth head did break in just after I put in the security cameras, had the whole rendition on video. The guy is still at large. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. They said I might have to testify for him. I'm happy to do that. Not the brightest bulb. That's the point. This is going to be my 73 transmission. I will be listening for a little bit, but Kath and I are making the trip over the hill, as we say, out here in West Marin to visit the mother-in-law. So that's what we're going to do. So I got to get cracking on that. But it's been wonderful. Thank you very much, gentlemen. A pleasure as always. And Henry, here comes WA7YBS, W6AWO.
Okay, Richard, 73. And good on all. Everybody's got good signals in here to Dayton, and it'd be hard to pick a top dog, but definitely when Ron came on with the amp behind him, that was plenty strong. So anyway, very good. Let's see. Okay, on Tom and his antenna travails there, I know the feeling. And, I was able to fix the two halfways in phase pretty easily. It actually broke on right at the center insulator, the north run, the north 135-foot leg. And so it was just a matter of lowering it down and soldering in a new piece there with proper mechanical, support, and then hoisting it back up. So it was a pretty easy fix on that antenna. The other one is hopeless. It's just not. It's a new antenna is what's going to be required on the 135 footer, and so we're in the process of doing that now. It's pretty difficult because there's still snow on the ground, and it's been the guy that came here to cut up the tree and stuff. Let me tell you, when you show up with a two-wheel drive pickup and there's quite a bit of snow on the ground, it was a very, very tedious day. The guy said he had to go back and get a trailer because there was so much tree. He came back. I told him, when you come back with a four-wheel drive. Nah, he came back with the same two-wheel drive. So after about 4 hours of cutting and loading, he couldn't get out, just spinning the wheels in the snow. And so I had to sit on the back of his tonneau cover to give him enough weight on the back of the pickup to get some traction to get out of here. And I thought he was going to drive all the way out to the street, and driveway is about 200 feet. And so I was riding along, bouncing along on his tonneau cover there pretty good for a while. It's a good thing I had a snow shovel. There sure wasn't anything to hold on to, so I had to use the snow shovel to keep me from falling off the back of his tonneau as he went out the driveway. So that was our excitement there on the tree. Let's see, Bill, powerful signal. 60 dB on the carrier level meter. What I do with Bill is I turn on the BFO and I zero beat him, zero his carrier, with the BFO on. And that's sort of an exalted carrier sort of deal. And if you get the BFO set just right, Bill clears right up. And he's Q5. So, he had a problem with the SDR radio that he uses for listening, and so that was his issue there. So anyway, try the BFO when Bill comes on. It works real well. And let's see what else is going on. The light gray panel, 51J4. I have gone through that and aligned it the day before yesterday. And I probably mentioned this, but maybe I didn't. This one may be, I'm not sure, but it could be a Collins Lab 51J4 with the smooth finished light gray front panel. The reason I say that is the 6KC mechanical filter is gone, and there's this Collins made RC coupler installed in there. And I would have thought I didn't think it was hamster because it was too nicely made. It had all the right parts and everything. But I confirmed that with a guy up in Canada, VE7CA, who also has one lab receiver, and it had the exact same RC coupler, made exactly the same way. So, and for the same purpose, the 6KC mechanical filter substitution. And when you select 6KC on this J4, it's now about 12KC, maybe a little broader. And so it is quite a different experience. You still have the benefits of the 3.1 mechanical filter, 3.1 KC. And, if the AM signal is good quality, nice and strong, and, not any interference and stuff, you can go to that 12 KC RC coupler, and they sound decent. I won't say they sound good because it's a 51J4. They sound decent, kind of like communications grade audio, but it's a big improvement over the 6KC filter. So anyway, that's what we've been working on. Let me get it back to Chuck. K0DWCWA7 YBS.
Okay, Henry. 787 YBS. K0DWC. All righty, very good. That's kind of neat, though, with those special mods in there that were done by Collins. A lab receiver. That's interesting. And the fact that somebody else has got one that's pretty much the twin. Yeah, that would be worth looking into some more, I think. You know, see if you can dig up any more information on that thing. And see how many of them were made. You know, I don't know if there's anything out there, any records that say anything about that, but it'd be interesting to find out, for sure. Okay. Well, let me make a call here, see if anybody wants to check in or tail into the second round here, and key number 8. If you got key number 8, come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, let's see, well, 7-3's to Richard, and everybody continues to have good signals. Yeah, I heard Bill, too, say his SDR took a burp, and I guess he got it back up and going again, obviously. But, yeah, he's got a pretty strong signal here, too. Just a little bit fuzzy, but you know what? I tried something different. I left the BFO off, and on the bandwidth on the R390A, I went down to 0.1. And when I did that, I went down to 0.1, and I backed off a little bit on the RF gain and turned the local gain up just a touch. And he wasn't coming in as clear as, you know, like what Henry was saying with the BFO on, but he was at least understandable. You know, I just kind of discovered that by accident, so. But it's worked. The last couple of times he's been on here on the net this morning, I've been able to hear him doing that, so. I don't know. Maybe it's conditions are helping out a little bit there. You know, if the conditions were bad, it may not work. I don't know. But anyway, and Mike, right now there ain't no breakfast report right yet. The boss is still sleeping. And it might be one of those mornings where a bowl of Wheaties is going to have to suffice. So, you know, I'm kind of in don't know what to do there. If I go in there and try and do something in the kitchen, I'll have more of it on me than what I eat. So, and that's a fact, too. That ain't, I ain't kidding you. Oh, okay. All right, guys, let's do the 7-3 round, and we'll go ahead and start up at the top with Ron, NU6F. This is 7-3 round, guys. Go ahead, Ron, take it. NU6F K0DWC.
Okay, good deal, Chuck. Well, okay on copying all, just fine. And Chuck, thanks for giving Mike the breakfast update. So he's not going to feel too bad about his oatmeal this morning. And yeah, Chuck, I'll go back to my miles per watt. So you got the 100 miles per watt. And I had to tell the post office this last time, third time, I was guaranteed a callback on status of what the carrier had done with my Collins lower sideband, or actually upper sideband filter. And I says, you know, it made it 7,995 miles in a month and a half, and yeah, it couldn't make it the last half a mile from the post office over at Mike's Golden Valley to my house. So, well. Oh, but does it sound like I'm over it? Oh yeah, I'm over it. Not. And Mike,
okay, on the AR6 receiver project, and I didn't realize you had the dynamotor on the transmitter there. So at least we have 3 motor-operated radios on the net. So I want to take it back, just a 2 motor-operated radio. So, but anyhow, there you go. The ART-13, yeah, the truck's that's got a motor, but it doesn't run very much. Not at least while he's talking. So I guess that kind of counts. Steve, and yeah, okay, on the coyote report, you know, if you were down by Pine Mountain Lake and we had our squirrel report, yeah, that would have taken care of the squirrels messing up antennas down by Pine Mountain Lake. Would have made a great combination story. And Dave, good deal on the GRC 106, finally working on the Clatternet, so now you got it transmitting CW, AM, sideband, and teletype. It's a good thing. Don't try adding anything else to it like WinLink. Don't add that. Just keep it the way it is. You got it back to where it was in the good old days. So good deal on that. And Richard signed, and Henry, yeah, I've got the mental picture of you on the tonneau cover on the back of the 2-wheel drive pickup dragging the remains of the locust tree behind, and would have made a YouTube video with the standard caption, "Hey guys, watch this." All right, we're glad that worked. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. I'll listen out, pass on my 73s, and I will continue to work out, give the TD3 a workout. I've been on the air every day on CW, so it's got several hours on it now, and we will just have to see how long the motor, bearings, commutator, windings all hold out. Done all I can for it. Okay, guys, 73s. With that, over to Golden Valley and the non-functioning post office there, W7MS NU6F.
Well, okay, Ron, tell us what you think. NU6F, W7MS. Well, you know, I have to comment on that because I had avoided that because I'll go on a rant myself. I talk about a switched capacitor voltage regulator IC I ordered out of Chicom land. That I can tell you this story. It was actually out for it was shown at the receiving post office here in Golden Valley and then disappeared, never to be seen again. And even the tracking information evaporated. So there was some there was some Watergate. They were covering their tracks. And then I had to wait like 3 months where I could file an issue with PayPal. And actually the vendor in China refunded the money. It was only a couple of bucks, but it was interesting how it takes forever to show up, and it's literally 3 minutes away and just evaporates. I can also tell you a story about my quad KT88 vacuum tubes, which were not inexpensive, and how I saw the letter carrier out at my mailbox. And I knew the box was too big for the rural mailbox, and I'm yelling, "What about the box?" as he drives off. And then it was checked back into the serving post office in Golden Valley. Went in the next morning to say, you know, a WTF moment. I guess again, business polite. And they told me, "Oh, it's out for delivery again." Well, it wasn't. But 30 minutes later, the postmaster for that post office in his personal vehicle was delivering my quad KT88 vacuum tubes. So maybe there's some still hope, but I still wonder what happened to my switched capacitor voltage regulator IC from China and how it just disappeared. So, yeah, there's a competency issue, but enough of my ranting, because that's water under the bridge. I mean, the sun is up. It's a beautiful day. So, Ron, I'm sure everything will work out for you. But, yeah, other comments here. I was cringing a little bit with Henry's description of riding on the trailer as in essentially assuming the sandbag position. But if you'd fallen off, you would have been run over possibly by the trailer. So, and that brought to mind a certain actor up on the Mount Rose Highway here in Reno who was run over by a snowcat. So I'm glad everything worked out fine for you, because what can you say? I'm sure the price was right, because that's you just had to do a little sweating of your own to get him up and out of the yard there and up the driveway. But with that 7.3s, it's been fun, and we'll turn it over to Bill to see what Bill has to say. N6 BCT W7MS.
And my microphone is MS microphone. This is MS part number MS 37. That's what I got here. There's another microphone that I don't have, which was an MS, which is a hand microphone. MS-42 C6JX, and I don't have one of those. I don't know whether that would work better, but I switched off all the BMS stuff on the on my controller here, so maybe it's going to be better for understanding everything. Anyway, so that's the story on that. And I don't have an AM filter for this radio, and I couldn't find one on eBay or anything like that. So that was AM filter was the XS-117A, which is AM filter, and we have a CW filter also, but I don't use CW very much, so don't worry about that. Anyway, so that's the story there. And it's over to W6FS to N6 Bravo Charlie Tango.
Okay, thank you, Bill. I think you turned it over to me. Signals have faded quite a bit, so I'm back on the 75A1. It has a little bit of an edge over the HRO. And by the way, Henry, I used your site quite a bit when researching this thing. And it turns out it has the retrofitted noise blanker, which is what that extra knob was on the front panel. It's in a little different spot than the one that you have on your site that the ARRL was using, but works quite well. Pretty impressed with it. Let's see. Let me try to answer a few questions. Dave, first of all, yeah, the XYL had a little bit of a problem with the HRO. The usual way things work here is on the way out, it's don't bring anything more home. And of course, when I do, it's kind of she doesn't say very much. It's expected. She's used to it. She knows there's not much she can do about it, but she has her quirks as well. So it kind of evens out a little bit. And I just wanted to make a comment on the antenna field out at KPH. I've spent quite a bit of time out there myself years ago. And for those that haven't been out there, seen the antenna field at the transmitter center bands, it's a forest of 100-foot wood poles with HOV2 antennas strung between many of them. And the feed lines are 600 ohms, and they're huge wood structures to hold the feed lines going to all the antennas. It's a very impressive setup, which is unfortunately just a shadow of what it used to be years ago. But all of those wooden poles, the centers are rotted out of them for way down, and in fact many of them have hornet's nest in them. So not a surprise that one of them fell down, and kind of waiting for more of them to fall down there. And that antenna field is in very, very bad shape, which is a shame. But that's the way it goes. Wood doesn't last that long in the wild. So 73 all, over to Dave. W6MQI, W6SSP.
W6SSP, W6MQI. All right, Steve. Let's see, I think I mentioned to you about a trip out to KPH. Talked to the wife about it, and possibly maybe like this spring when the weather gets a little bit better, maybe we could hook up out there and I can get that MD 522 handed off to you, and we can get a weekend that we can all meet up. That'd be good. Get a tour of KPH. Same time. Hey, Ron, one of these days, of course my CW skills are a little down. It's been so long since I've been on CW. We got to do a QSO with TDE to TCK CW QSO. That'd be fun. We'll have to work that out. And Mike, I'm still waiting for my capacitors via the Golden Valley post office box. I wonder if they're stuffed under a desk or something in a mail slot somewhere. That's an interesting post office you got there. And Chuck or Mike, I wouldn't mind trying to. I don't know if you guys have any rigs that get on 60 meters. I know that 106 does. Well, I wouldn't mind trying to do an upper sideband get together on either 60 meters or even 40 meters. I noticed they have that Saturday morning 40 meter net on 1796 Central Standard Time at 9 a.m. I don't even know if it's even going anymore. I haven't heard them, but it'd be kind of fun. I've never even used the rig on upper sideband. I know it works. I've listened to myself on KPH, but that's about it. So I don't know if that PRC rig of yours, Chuck, gets on 60 meters or not, but that'd actually be a good band. Probably be between Reno and Livermore. Had some pretty good success on there. But anyway, that's everything on my notes here, and we'll see 73, and let's see. I guess it's over to Henry now. WA7YBS, W6MQI.
Okay, Dave. W6MQI, WA7YBS. Okay, very good. Okay, on the HRO, Steve, yeah, I thought that was the one that I had the photograph that Greg has sent me. And if I remember right, that was a G production run. And I know you mentioned that the one that you had picked up was an H production run. So two different HROs, and those, you know, like I said, the H run is, well, I don't know, around September, October, somewhere there, 1935. And that's the last of the German silver micrometer dials. The next run is the J run, and that's 1936, and it has the black painted dial. So very good on that. You can, all of those things, the noise limiter addition, National for that, and a lot of guys, more than I thought, sent their receivers back to National, and National would install that stuff for you. And of course, if National was involved in the installation, it looks factory. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. So it was very common to do that, and very cheap. They would convert a HRO Junior to an HRO Senior for like $15 or something like that. It was insane. The prices were just, so cheap it was unbelievable. Anyway, good on the HRO. It's a good receiver, but of course it is dated, being designed in 1934. So, but you had the best. You know, you had Herbert Hoover Jr. and his crew doing the electronics design, and then you had James Miller and National doing the mechanical design. So it was a good combo. With that, 73 all, and we'll try to hear everybody next week when hopefully it might be a little warmer out here. 73, and over to Chuck. K0DWC, WA7YBS.
Okay, Henry, WA7YBS, K0DWC. Alrighty, guys. Good net this morning. Good conditions. That's paradise, man. Let's see here real quick. Dave, this PRC 74 I got is an earlier version. If I looked it up right, which I think I did, it's dated around 1965, 1966. It's the latest thing that I have in the radio. Really, it's fun to run, but for me, it really, in a way, it's kind of too new. But it does a good job. And it's running on. I'd have it running on batteries. I've got the AC power supplies for it, but I got it set up as a man pack right now. But it runs 2 to 12 megacycles on my PRC 74. Now there's a PRC 74B. Baker that went from 2 to, I believe it was 8 megacycles. I mean, it actually had room in there to do 20 inch. But that was it as far as those two sets went. They were both built by Hughes Electronics or Hughes Aircraft. And they did, Hughes did everything, the complete package on these deals, you know, headsets, different wire antennas, whips, all that stuff. It's all done by them, and I guess some subcontractors. So 2 to 12 meg is all I'm capable of doing on that. So, but yeah, it would be interesting to, you know, I don't know very much about a PRC. What was that? PRC 10 or whatever. I think you've got a man pack like that. I don't really know anything about those. I don't even know what frequency those are on, but I don't know if we'd be capable of talking back and forth on those or not. But anyway, maybe we work something out. We could try something on upper sideband. That'd be kind of cool. I'd be game for that as well. Okay, guys, that'll do it for me. So this is K0DWC, and I'll be securing the Vintage Military Radio Net. And I'd like to thank everybody for their participation and invite everyone back next Sunday morning. And with that, we'll turn frequency back over to regular use. This is K0DWC signing off, 73 guys. Take care. Have a good week.